This is a review of Survivor Season 47, Episode 4. Is That Blood in Your Hair is the title of the episode. We're here for a full breakdown, a full recap of the episode. I have Richie Becerra with me. Richie, how you feeling? 4 weeks into the episode. 4 weeks into the season, how do you feel about this season?
I mean, I'm loving it so far. Granted, the person I thought who was going to win it all went home already, but we switched. We're on to a new person, and I think he's doing really well. So
Yeah,
it's been a good season.
it's been a really strong start for sure. I feel like so
Hmm.
much has happened. This episode is very special. Like, I'm going to remember this episode forever for a couple reasons. Mainly because, and we'll talk about it throughout, is I got to go to a Survivor event last week in Hollywood where a couple castaways from this season were there, as well as reality stars from Big Brother, which, you should have been with me there for that to help me
Hey,
figure it out.
yeah.
I would have loved to see you in that environment because I was much more of a kind of hang back and just watch it all unfold around me. Interacted a little bit with some castaways.
Hmm.
And I was in a bar and it was playing like it was a game, and it was there were cheers, there was
That's
laughing,
so cool.
there was it was honestly a really cool way to watch Survivor, and I got to watch the castaway who was voted out, got to watch their reaction happen live, which was crazy. Gonna show that clip too
Hmm.
later in the episode. But also, what I was told too is that this is the highest rated episode of Survivor since the Winners at
Wow.
War finale.
Oh my
Yeah. And
gosh.
it's IMDb, which I don't know how they get their ratings or rankings,
Yeah,
but I mean, this was a
that's
very,
crazy.
very nice full episode. And
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know if it's because we're doing this, but I just feel so connected to these players and to just this season. And it's been off to a strong start. We're going to rename the episode. Is That Blood in Your Hair is the name. Great name. We'll probably think of something better. We'll talk about which castaways stock is up and which stock is down, as well as a Survivor press conference and deciding who will go home next week. We were both wrong, I believe, this week, correct?
Yeah.
I think I picked
Hmm.
Saul, and
And I had Annika.
you had Annika. Saw Annika. Annika was in attendance last week. Pretty crazy. It's like getting started. Like, I've been in I've been in LA for 6 years, and I felt more starstruck
More starstruck.
about these people that I've only seen for a couple weeks
That's what
than
I was going to say. Is like I've seen a lot of like professional athletes and
yeah.
stuff like that, and like I don't know, that doesn't do it, and I think it's because I'm more used to that. But I think I would be more starstruck seeing like winners of Big Brother, like Survivor, Legends, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, it was a weird one because reality stars is there's so many reality shows, so it's not as it's
Hmm.
there's a big pool of them, and I didn't know a lot of them, but it was funny when you were there. There was over 40 reality stars at this event, and it's not a very big bar, and I bumped into Sandra. I literally bumped into her because there wasn't much room, and it was oh shoot, Sandra, let's get a selfie real quick. And anyways, it was amazing. It was fun to watch. But let's get into the episode. It starts off with the Red Tribe coming back from camp. Saul was blindsided. Teeny kind of explains that there was no way she could have voted for Asia, and that's why she threw a vote onto
Hmm.
Saul. Kind of this early emotional picks. We'll see. Teeny's an emotional one. You can tell, kind of latching on to Rome, the way she did, and then of course, yeah, not voting for Asia, even though that's what her alliance was doing. It seemed like she
Which
was forgiven for that.
I feel like this early in the game, I don't know how you can be that attached to somebody to where you can't give them your vote when it's going to be unanimous pretty much regardless. Like you not voting for her wasn't going to, I don't know, make her feel any better.
Right. And sure, you're gonna know these people forever, but they're not gonna be on the jury. So that's
Yeah.
I feel like, especially pre-merge,
Hmm.
I feel like you should be able to let votes fly pretty easily. We pop over to the Yellow Tribe where the lines are getting a little more blurry there. It seemed pretty clear that Sam and Sierra were this unit. Andy was the oddball. We weren't really sure about Annika and Rachel, but the lines seem to be getting blurry here because um we get introduced to this breadwinner alliance of all the girls. And this is one thing that Sam had said in previous episodes, which I agreed with, is that he didn't want to vote out Andy because he doesn't want all the girls and him to be there because,
Hmm.
in Survivor, genders do team up. I feel like girls are better at it than guys too.
For sure.
Um, but we see this kind of breadwinner alliance, which is led by Annika and Rachel. You could tell that Sierra was kind of brought into it, but we kind of I don't know. Like you got to be careful about, especially giving names to alliances as well. I don't know. What did you make of this? Like, is it smart for the girls to stick together? Because they could. They're outnumbering the guys right now.
I mean, I always think it's smart for one of the genders, whichever it may be, that has the numbers to do it, but it just never works out. And I feel like, especially like with the girls, I think they do a good job of sticking with it for a little bit, and then somebody does something, and it's almost like, oh, emotions start to come into it, and then they go out of that alliance, and it always ends up getting messy down the line. We'll see what happens, though. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and I mean, it ends up coming back later in the episode, which we'll get to. But we also get a piece of Blue where Sue kind of dominates this episode, and especially
mm,
this portion, because Blue doesn't really seem like too much of social players. Like we're not seeing a lot of Tiana, we're not seeing a lot of Kyle. I feel like Gabe has some really good confessionals. We see, he talks about why he really wanted to pair with Sue. Sue is getting emotional, just randomly crying, which with the sleep deprivation alone, I imagine you just kind of go crazy out there. You probably have a lot of, emotions that just come spilling out of you. He's there to comfort Sue, which is a good moment. But then Sue comes back with lying about her age, which she says she's 45, but she's actually 58. And I'm like, would you want, if you're 58, wouldn't you want to say that you're older? But I guess I don't know. Like lying about your age at that age do you think that's effective?
I don't know, because I feel like it's not like she went with an age to where it made her closer to everybody else, anyways.
Yeah.
I think the only reason to not tell your real age is if you are like pretty weak at that
Right.
age. But she's pretty strong, and I mean,
Yeah.
she's I feel like able to hold her own. So I don't know. I think if I was her, I would just say my own age, and
Yeah.
maybe it's a bit of an advantage for you.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like there's a pretty big difference between 45 and 58, and like I couldn't really tell if Kyle was like complimenting her, like, "Wow, you look great for 45," when it's like you'd usually, I think that's backwards a little bit, but I was like, all right, I guess I'll just let it play. They're being nice and whatnot. And also, I wonder if, I mean, they didn't cut to it. If anyone was like, yeah, I don't believe that. That's not true. There's no way that's true. But I like it. She's clearly hustling. And I think she's been one, I think we both agree, has been one of our favorites that like she's just a lot more powerful and she's got more moves in her that I think we're going to see play out.
And
Um,
see, I didn't even get to see any of this part because on my feed there was just a hurricane break for like probably like 10 minutes.
oh my gosh. Yeah. So then did you see her start hunting for the idol?
So as soon as I come back from the hurricane break, she like is like drenched in this like red stuff, and she finds an idol.
Dude, so
And
you're
I'm just
kind
like,
of
bro,
like,
what's going on?
that's hilarious. You're like her tribe mates. And
Yeah.
this was a point in the night where I was like sitting in an area of the bar where you could hear pretty well and we were pretty locked in because we're here to watch it. And like everyone was laughing and cheering for Sue because it was an awesome premise by the Survivor producers to make this idol, yeah, in a way where it's like going to be messy and you have a situation you have
Hmm.
to literally clean up. Because like I loved the birdcage a few seasons ago because I think that added such a great dynamic of like, wait, it's
Hmm.
sitting right there. Like someone can get it, someone could replace it, whatever. She gets this beware advantage that takes her to a vine that she cuts, and yeah, this balloon or something full of red paint hits the ground, explodes all over the place, mixes in with the dirt, splashes on the tree, gets all over Sue, and has a perfect idol in it, an idol that gets you all the way to 5, which is a classic idol.
Huge.
It's an
Hmm.
amazing thing. And Sue starts scrambling, clean up, clean up, clean up. Does a pretty amazing job. She's right by the water well, which I wondered if that was intentional as well, that like could help her clean up or whatnot, or if that's like an obvious spot that then people would catch on to. I don't know. She
Yeah.
sweeps away a lot of the blood and she mixes it in with the blood, the paint. We keep saying blood. It feels like blood. Scrapes up the
Well, it's
paint.
because they ask her at one point, like, "Hey, are you like bleeding?"
Yeah, and she just like the best is that she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she just has like blood, like the red paint on her face. That got a big laugh because everyone was so happy for her. And then it's like, okay, well now you have to hide it. And yeah, she's like, I was just playing with the machete. I don't know, whatever. And like she was trying to lie, really couldn't. But like kind of gets away scot free, which is insane. And she uses the water well to clean off herself, which I'm like, did it get in the
Hmm.
well? Are these wells getting tainted this season? First by Rome and now
Yeah.
by by Sue. It's crazy. But she gets an idol, and that idol is good until final five. Like, I feel like that doesn't even exist anymore.
Hard to come by these days for sure.
And now it makes you think that that new idol that is at the Red Tribe that will take you all the way to five. That
You would imagine.
there should be an idol re put back. There should be an idol back at that tribe that hopefully takes them to five. Crazy. But Sue gets it, gets away scot free somehow. It seems like they kind of show Tiana's a little bit like I'm suspicious, but they don't really know what to be
Hmm.
suspicious of because it's I don't know. So yeah, that's what we get. And then we get back to the Red Tribe where they're also idol hunting, except there's a little bit of a caveat. Rome is
Yeah.
sticking like glue to Saul. What do you make of this? I mean, this is just more Rome being Rome, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about the guy, but he's playing Survivor, and I mean, in a small way, he is playing kind of like Rob. I know he compared himself to Rob, and I won't go full and say he's playing Rob's game, but
A lot of
similar.
game
I mean,
left, yeah.
Rob would have it so that if anyone that wasn't with the alliance was going off somewhere, somebody was with them, so that they couldn't look for an idol, or if they did and found it, you knew that they had it. So I mean, he's
Yeah.
doing it. I feel like in a strange way,
Yeah.
and
He's
maybe a little bit too aggressive, but
he's clearly fully being himself and fully being like he's like Jeff always says like play Survivor like you're playing the second time. Like first time you might sit back a
hmm
lot and you might like be just watching people make moves. You're a little nervous, hesitant. Rome is not that way. Rome is going to play hard, and he even seemed to be getting frustrated looking for the idol. And also props to Saul, man, for keeping his cool because I
yeah.
can imagine that's frustrating.
hmm
But yeah, he follows him to get water. He follows him to get a coconut. We get Teeny does a little bit of a Jim Halpert moment at one point because it's like really awkward, and Teeny looks back at the
Yeah.
camera. Excellent,
That was cool. I
excellent
feel like we I
Survivor.
feel like we don't get that a lot, so I like that part.
We don't. I bet it happens a lot, but the producers are like, cut it. We
Hmm.
can't let them look at the camera. Teeny looked right down the like looked back, like, are you seeing this? This is crazy. So, but that's still that tension is still going on at red. Pretty hilarious. Back at yellow, Andy being Andy continues because his shot in the dark is just laying around. I don't know how it's just, but it's just Andy being Andy. We get
Yeah.
this montage of him just tripping over himself, as Sam is saying, falling out of a boat. He says that his underwear ripped at one point too. Um, yeah, it's crazy. But then Andy also gets to make a great move with Sierra as that relationship is starting to build. Sierra starts to
hmm
tell him, which if someone's opening up to you like this, that means you're in. And Sierra tells him the girls have an alliance. And Andy's like, "Oh, are they like calling it anything, or like are they saying anything?" And she's like, "Oh, well, yeah, they're calling it the breadwinners." And it's like, oh no,
hmm
this is about to get messy because then Andy goes to Sam, and Sam's like, "Dang," which gains points, more points for Andy. Andy
Oh,
again,
100%.
we said his stock's coming up because it was so low. It's
hmm
coming up even more now because he's making these moves, and then we see Sam go right to Sierra in the same moment, and they're having a hard time beating the couple allegations because they are bickering like a couple. Like one person's not believing the other person, and they're trying to talk about sticking together.
hmm
And Sierra has a great line about I need Survivor Alliance therapy. I thought that was a great line because there were clearly cracks there when really there shouldn't be cracks because everyone seems to understand the information. But I think of any tribe, yellow is the one I want to see go to tribal so bad because
I just 100%.
I have no idea how that's going to shake out. Like
Because
we're playing.
Annika doesn't have a vote.
Annika doesn't have a vote.
And I
And
think this is all the more reason for Sam to keep Andy. He knows and can trust that Andy's going to come with him with information the moment he gets it, and he has Andy kind of like in his back pocket right now. So why not keep him around? It makes
I,
no sense to get rid of him.
I could totally see that being like Sierra being. I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
Annika not having a vote, it's big, but yeah, no, I want to see this tribe go to tribal. Like this is the one we're playing Survivor Fantasy, where each week you can put where the votes go. There's a couple weeks I put all 10 on one person because I feel pretty strong. Yellow's hard because it's like, oh
hmm
man, they could because the second actually that Yellow loses immunity, Andy could we could lose him again. He could be gone. He could be. You could lose it. So we'll see. I do want to see that tribe go to tribal. They don't do it this episode. We go right to the challenge again. Another great challenge. We get this giant cube
Mm,
which leads to build a frame and toss a sandbag through it. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
And we see that fail even at one point,
Hmm.
to an all new Survivor Fire puzzle, which gets controversial. But before that, we find out what we're playing for: chickens, which we just talked about this when we covered the
Yeah.
Kagiyan. We said, will they ever bring it back? They haven't brought it back since Survivor 40 because the
I'm
champions all
telling you,
had
they're
claims.
listening.
They are listening. There's a lot listening. We're learning, but crazy that the chickens are back and that we get some good chicken dynamics happening here. I'm shocked that they're back, but until a chicken dies, will it be a problem? Which maybe it'll happen soon. And okay, so we get the challenge going. Saul actually ends up giving Red a huge lead with the sandbags and the frame.
Hmm.
It's a pretty neck and neck race, but one thing I did notice is they all started the puzzle at the same time. They all started the puzzle at the same time, and by the end of it, you wouldn't have guessed it because Red and really just Rome was sitting I think Jeff called it like he was sitting on his throne because he sat there and just did. And they say it later too. He's acting like a surgeon. Hand me a piece.
Yeah.
Nope, nope. Well, you see
Nice and
both,
like he's not moving at all, going slow. Like,
and
I mean, I put in here like I was gonna say like, do you think he threw the challenge?
I talked to this about my coworker too, and at the time too, when I was watching, is I was like, oh man, because he was like he took the pieces that were clearly not
Hmm.
fitting, and it
Yeah.
looked like, oh, is he playing? I don't know, and but apparently Kishan had said in some confessionals that like Rome's too big of a competitor. He would have either admitted that and been like, look, that was my move, or
Yeah.
he would have just fought through. I don't think he threw it. He was laughing a lot. I can confirm that when we were there, like maybe out of embarrassment or whatnot, just laughing,
For sure.
and especially because it ended up okay for him in the end, or at least at the end of this episode. Where like doesn't even get one piece of this pretty insane puzzle. It did look like when they were connecting them, I'm like, oh man, you can barely tell that one fit. Like
Hmm.
as far as the design goes, pretty sick puzzle. Yellow wins, blue gets second, and red is in last, going to their second tribal. Do you make anything of this challenge? Good
It was a
challenge.
great one. I mean, and I like that he put the emphasis on brand new Survivor puzzle.
Yeah,
I almost feel like they kind of have to start doing that every year now, just because you have all this 3D printing of past puzzles and stuff like that. So I
yeah.
do like that they're incorporating new elements to challenges that they haven't done in the past. I think that's really cool.
Shout out Carson, man. Carson, I bet you Carson felt good about that. Like he was like,
Oh, for
hey,
sure.
but then he also probably went right to his computer and was like, let me print this one out in case I'm back for 50 and they use it. Yeah, pretty great puzzle. They get sent on a journey. Andy, Teeny, and Caroline. We'll talk about that in a second. Yellow comes back and they don't want to eat the chickens, or at least Sierra says she doesn't. And it doesn't look like anyone
Hmm.
wants to rattle that cage of like, no, let's eat it. Everyone is being very polite
Hmm.
over there at Yellow, even though like Rachel was like, I can't wait to eat a chicken. And then when it was time to let's kill chicken, I was like, oh, okay, we don't have to.
And I
Which
think is maybe it's because they just got them to like. There's no reason to like, kill them that quick. Let
yeah,
them make some eggs first and then kill one of them. But we'll
it's
see what
just
happens
you
in the
got to be
next coming
thinking
weeks.
a tribe swap's going to be coming or something.
Hmm.
I'm always thinking like that. Like you get all this stuff. Do you hoard right away? Do you at least? I feel like most tribes though back in the day would get back and kill one of them like pretty quickly
Yeah.
just to celebrate, right? Like what Sam was saying. Like that's a whole lot of protein. Let's get involved. Let's do this thing. That made sense to me. But Sierra holding her own, and that's his ally. He kind of has to lean into it. But I feel powder keg energy from Yellow. They're not going to tribal. They were the best tribe in the challenge, but something's gonna happen there, and I need them to get to tribal. I need it. Um, and then we go back to Red, where Rome is giving Saul. He's not threatening. He's giving him an ultimatum. This is like before we kind of see the journey.
Hmm.
And because the one worry they have is that Rome wants to hold on to his steal a vote, and the way to do that is to make Saul give him his shot in the dark. Which again, I just feel so bad for Saul. This like he's just not having any good moments here. He
Yeah, he had
gets his
no power at all.
no power, and even when he thinks like he might have some power, it's just not there. And that's when Kishan he pitches blindsiding Rome to Genevieve after already telling Rome, "Let's tell
Hmm.
everyone it's going to be Genevieve." And this is where you start to see Kishan's trying to make a couple moves, make a couple plays. We don't get to see that play out fully yet because we go right to the journey, which is pretty simple and sweet. Three people. It is Andy, Teeny, and Caroline. And it's this
Hmm.
amulet thing, which I feel bad for Teeny here because Teeny was clearly in the worst possible position. It's, hey, we all three lose our vote and nothing happens, or one of us loses our vote and we all get an amulet. A very
Hmm.
special amulet where they all have to make it to the same island, and then they all have a power of one. But then if it gets down to one person, you have a full idol. Makes sense. It's a lot cleaner. You don't have to say any crazy phrases or anything like that. Um, they're standing there, and it looks like Caroline. And I noticed it when I was just watching that like Caroline was about to speak up and be like, "Okay, I'll
Yeah.
do it," and
Hmm.
but then Teeny was like, "Okay, fine, fine." Because I don't know what you would do, but I would probably be staring at that thing, waiting for it. Not because I'm not going to let all three of us lose our votes. It's like if you're going to lose your vote, which is what Teeny said, it's got to be for something. But you just got to
See, I
assume
don't know. I
Teeny's
think I'm
going.
on the opposite side of that. I think I'm willing to just not have a vote if no one else is going to stand up because I think I can hold out longer than somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, and you could also just be like, look, will you protect me if we make it? Because these
Hmm.
journeys are interesting bonding times. I don't know that it's ever paid off where it's like, oh, you made a connection on the journey and
Hmm.
then whatever. But yeah, that could be bargaining power too. It's just like, look, we all promise we'll stick together when we get to the merge. That might be true, it might not be, but be like, Teeny, I know you're going home. Like, but Andy was good when they were all talking at the beginning of like, how do you all feel? And he's like, I'm at the bottom.
Hmm.
Because then he could use that right away. It's like, I'm at the bottom. I need my vote. I can't do this.
Yeah.
Or I need my shot in the dark. But they all end up getting the amulet. How do you feel about the amulet in general? I don't know that we've ever actually seen it play out in a way that's
I like
satisfying
the
yet.
ideas of it. I almost feel like it works better if two of the three kind of team up and then try to get one of the other ones out. So then it's just them two that have to worry about it.
We get back to the tribes, and everyone tells everyone about the amulet. No one has kept the amulet a secret.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be a rule, and I'll say this is that if I ever come back from a journey, the only thing you'll ever hear me say is I lost my vote, whether it's true or not. Guys, I
Hmm.
lost my vote. Like there was this
Yeah.
game, I had a timer, it was a puzzle. I was so close, but I lost my vote. Otherwise, I would have gotten an idol. I'll get my vote back next tribal. And Rome did that, and it didn't, I don't know that anyone believed him because he opened his mouth later too.
Hmm.
But your answer has to just be I lost my vote. Like
Hmm.
even if that means then that they're targeting you or whatnot, and even if it means you're lying, I think it's got to be I lost my vote because otherwise there's just no secrecy in this game anymore. Like we got to
Hmm.
bring back secrecy. Um, I don't know. Everyone tells everyone. This is when Rome and Genevieve are having their talk, and we get a pretty cool cut of Genevieve hearing that Rome saying that Genevieve's going to be the fake name to go out there, and Rome says that was Kishan's idea. Yada yada yada. And then we literally see the gears turn, and we see Kishan's like flashback pop up, and she starts to realize, oh, this guy's making moves, and she makes a really good point. She's like, she said like I'm a type A uh type A strong willpowered whatever like strong thinker decision maker. She doesn't like someone else controlling her game, and taking out Rome would be a bad idea because it seemed like a Rome blindside was set up and it was going to be
Hmm.
delicious. Saul even said this night is going to be so amazing. And it kind of felt like that. Like live in the moment, I thought, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this could happen. Because we hadn't
Hmm.
heard from Genevieve. Genevieve had zero confessionals in episode 2 or 1.
Yeah. Not, I mean, and I mean, like, I still don't feel like until maybe, I guess, last episode, they've made it seem how close Genevieve and Rome are. They seem to be like, I mean, the two that have kind of been like the pair, Teeny and Kashan are kind of the pair. So,
Yeah. Yeah, but we see Genevieve like this. She saves Rome in this moment, going like, "No, listen, everyone wants to go to you, but we know Teeny doesn't have a vote. So Rome, you got to steal a vote, whether it's Saul's or whether it's Kishan. You got to
hmm.
steal someone's vote." And we do see Rome apologize to Saul before, and at Tribal. Now that we're at Tribal, there's a lot of recapping there. But one thing is clear is that Kishan had no idea this was coming, no idea, which was
Yeah.
such a satisfying blindside. And one thing I will give credit for to this party I was at is I was trying to read tells. I was trying to see how stressed everyone was because Rome was there, Kishan was there, Caroline was there, and did I say Kishan already?
Annika.
Annika, and
Hmm.
Annika was there. And by the end of it, Red going to Tribal, Rome and Kishan are locked in, but Kishan was so locked in the whole episode that you could tell he was watching to go, how did this go wrong? Like, what
Mm,
happened? This was a clear blindside, and like the fear in everyone's eyes of I have
yeah.
no idea what's about to happen. That was a really exciting Tribal. Votes all go to Kishan. One goes to Rome from Saul. And Keyshawn goes home. And
Well, because you get Rome too that steals Kashan's vote.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, yeah. So Rome gets up, says, "I want to
Hmm.
use my steal a vote. I'm going to steal Keyshawn," and that's the moment everyone just drops and goes, "Oh my gosh, insane!"
First up, Kishan. Kishan. It's 2 votes, Kishan. Fourth person voted out of Smile.
It was wild, and Keyshawn goes home. Seemed to be someone that could have made some splashes there. Like, was Teeny's ally too? We forget. Like, that was the pair on that
Hmm.
tribe. And so maybe Teeny and Saul maybe team up, or everyone just hides behind Rome again. But yeah, pretty much a bummer. I don't know one thing I was watching and I was like, dude, if I knew I was getting voted out, I guess maybe I would go to a big public thing. But do you think you would have your friend? I guess you'd probably have people over every week if you were watching, or would you go
You would have.
places?
You would have. I think you'd probably have people over.
Yeah,
I
just
guess
like
it
a
just
small group.
depends.
I can't have a bunch of strangers,
Yeah,
man. They played not like us after Keyshawn was voted out, man. I was like,
that's awesome.
oh, I was like, dang, that's pretty tough. But yeah, Keyshawn goes home, and that's the episode. Any other notes from that episode?
No, I think that's what I had.
Nice. All right. Well, the let's go. Let's go into stock up, stock down first. Who do you got stock up? Might have the same.
I went. I went stock up with Sue.
Oh,
I
nice.
think
Yeah.
she kind of dominated the first half of the episode. Big on her for getting an idol. She seemed to play it off pretty good, and I think she's already in a good position in that tribe anyway. So if
Yeah.
people don't know she has the idol, it's even better because she doesn't
Yeah.
have to worry about it for hopefully a while.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think that'll be good. And I think her and Gabe seem like a pretty good duo over
Hmm.
there too. Blue just seems so like. Yeah. There's no real drama over there. That's why I'm like I need to see Yellow go.
Hmm.
My stock up is Genevieve. I think that was a big move. Like that is Genevieve's move that
Yeah,
happened. So I just think that was pretty legit. Your ally is still there. I mean, there's now no advantages for anyone except for maybe that idol that can get all the way to 5 at that red tribe. Um, I think it seems like there's gonna be a twist this week or there's gonna be a twist in the next episode of like tribe swaps or an interesting way they're
yeah.
doing the challenge. So it's gonna be hard to predict next week. But she's my stock up is Genevieve. Who's your stock down?
Stock down. I'm gonna go with Saul. I just feel like he kind of lost almost all power this episode.
Yeah,
He doesn't really have anywhere that he can make a move on. He almost kind of is at this point going to have to be taken, at least until like a tribe swap or something.
yeah, yeah. Saul feels like the right answer. I actually went with Sam here only because I'm starting to
Ooh.
see cracks. I'm starting to see cracks over there, and I could see it bouncing his way where. Wait, like you said, everyone knows that Annika doesn't have a vote, right? Like she didn't keep that to herself, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Which maybe buys him time a little bit, but I just think like he had everyone on his side, and that's sometimes dangerous. We talked about that, but yeah, I don't know. I just think him and Sierra having some things where they're maybe worried about their image together and also disagreeing on things. I just saw Sam take a slight, not a ton down, but Saul is. As we've been thinking, Saul's going home for weeks, but like now it does seem like yeah, could be Saul next week. Who do you got going home next week?
I'm gonna go with Annika again. I'm really hoping that Yellow loses, and I think she'd be the one to go because I don't see Sam voting Andy out at this point. And
Yeah,
so that's two votes right there. And I think he's going to say, hey, Sierra, like, we're not budging. So either we're going to Rocks or Annika's going home.
yeah, and Sam has that idol too, where it seems like Sam is going to protect himself, and then even if you end up at a 2-2 tie or something,
Mm-hmm.
it'll work out. But yeah, I think yeah, Annika not having a vote is everything. But the way advantages work here, Annika goes on a journey. Could she get a vote back?
True.
You know, like anything
Yeah.
can happen in this game. But Annika is a decent pick. I'm gonna go with Kyle next week. I'll go Kyle from the Blue
Oh, okay.
Tribe. Um, yeah, I mean, there hasn't been much drama over there, but Kyle is still the outs as far as we know on Blue. So I'll take Kyle there. I think Red will somehow win. They can't if they lose three challenges in a row. That'd be pretty big, but
Yeah.
I don't see that
I
happening.
mean, these tribes might not be who goes to, it might not be the same tribes that go to Tribal next week. We don't really even know.
Yeah, true. All right, you got a question for Jeff? Survivor press conference, or
Yeah, so my question for Jeff was, are they allowed to hide his shot in the dark? Since it was kind of just like it fell out and they kind of dropped it underneath the like whole thing. I didn't know if that was like allowed or if they would have at some point had to have told him where it was.
yeah, like
Because it
yeah,
seems almost like you're stealing it
right.
at some point, which I
But
know
if
is not allowed.
which like Sam had his back, which was a cool moment. Sam being like, "Go find it
Hmm.
and kind of cause a scene," and he did a good job of that. And he said, "Is this anyone's?" And they're like, "Oh, maybe check your bag, buddy." That was pretty funny. Um, and yeah, no, and even just being like, "Hey, no one tell him, no one tell him." Like it's not that you're stealing it; no one can acquire it, but you can. I wonder
Yeah.
if the rules are, you know what, just
But it
don't.
was the fact that they touched it too.
Oh yeah, interesting. Because
Like
yeah,
I
if
forget who
someone
picked it up, but somebody picked it up and dropped it under the bed.
right. Well, I mean, I guess it's the same as like you're allowed to go through people's bags. And if you go through someone's bag and you find an idol, like you can't take that idol.
Hmm.
But yeah, I wonder if in a case like this where he just dropped it and it's probably not fair game, but yeah, there's got to be something sinister you could do even about
Hmm.
not telling him. My question for Jeff had to do with Andy as well. And he said, I ripped my underwear, or I think I tore my underwear. And I'm like, if there's a wardrobe malfunction, do they get fresh new clothes? Because that doesn't seem
They
fair.
do for sure. I've seen these people like in multiple different outfits, especially in these last couple of years too.
Yeah, they have lots of outfits. But I'm like, if
Yeah.
something like an underwear rips, is that something where like, oh, we'll get you another pair of underwear? But that feels like a big advantage. I mean, if we got Philip some new underwear back in the day, that would have changed
Oh,
everything out there. Gosh, that
that'd
thing
have been
is
nice for everybody.
Gosh, that's a Hall of Famer up there. Yeah, no, it's a wardrobe. Yeah, if something like happens, like even a strap breaks, like on a girl's shirt or something, where it's like, oh no, that's a problem. Would they bring in something, or maybe they stitch it up?
Hmm.
Maybe they stitch it up. Maybe there's a clear answer for
Maybe.
that. He'll probably answer it next week on the pod. So we'll stay listening to that on fire with Jeff Probst. I like it. Now the title of the episode was "Is That Blood in Your Hair?" Let's rename this
What'd you
episode.
go with?
I went with something that Kishan said. Um, let's see. I went with something that Kishan said. Here to create chaos. I'm here to create chaos, and it was funny. I heard him say it, and then when Genevieve is there and the gears are turning, it pops up again. And
Hmm.
yeah, apparently even Jeff said in his notes about Keyshawn that like Keyshawn was going to come and stir things up, going to maybe spread some gossip or whatever, and that's what he was trying to do. And he almost got
Hmm.
Rome out if Genevieve didn't get so smart. But here to create chaos, but the chaos ended up biting him in the butt. I like that title, here to create chaos.
Nice. I'm glad I wrote 2 down because the first one I had was Chaos times 10, so I won't go with that one
That was said a
because
lot.
it's
That was a
very
good one too.
similar. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Survivor George Costanza because Sam
Survivor.
says that about Andy, and I thought that was a great moment.
Yeah,
Fun little title.
yeah, yeah. They use that. I feel like quite a bit in the promos, and that just stands out too with, um, yeah, what was said. I did like Survivor Alliance Therapy too. That's just a little too niche to
Mm,
that one little moment, but I thought that
yeah.
was pretty funny. That like, yeah, that is what they kind of need. Um, yeah, they called it. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. That was the episode. It was wild to watch with them because, like I said, yeah, Keyshawn was leaned forward, watching the whole time. Um, Rome was hyped there, was laughing, was locked in. None of them were really like. I was wondering while we were there that like, is someone from CBS here watching to make sure no one's saying anything?
Oh,
Because
I guarantee it.
or like how do they scare the life into these people? We talked about like how strong are their NDAs, but they must
Hmm.
scare the life out of them to be like, listen, this is what happens if you tell. You don't
Yeah.
even want to slightly give it up. I bet they have a whole course or an hour-long lecture or something.
Hmm.
Because like I imagine they want to burst it out of them because it was like earlier this year this happened. They know what's happening. And like yeah, Rome knew that he was gonna have a terrible night on the puzzle. And yeah, I don't know. They all kept it pretty tight, but by the end of it, it was clear that Keyshawn goes home because he was locked in the entire episode, and like Annika was there, like comforting him, like towards the end, like once the votes were coming, once the steal vote happened, like you could tell people were like, "Hey, buddy, hey, you did good, you did good." Pretty amazing, pretty fun. So excited for this season to continue to roll on. We'll be
Yeah.
here every episode, to keep going. Any more thoughts, Richie?
Hopefully you guys will be too.
Hey, bring it on.
No. No, we're excited. Go
Arizona State.
Devils.
Go Devils. Go Devils. Go Devils. We missed that ranking, but we'll get there next week, I think. 27? They were 27? Is that what I heard? That's what Shay told me.
27 what?
They
Oh,
ASU's
in the
ranked
rankings.
27.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
just outside of it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will see you for the next episode.